Hello guys, as usual stay home, stay safe and do Excel chemistry. Alright, so as discussed, so today we are going to talk about the cement, Portland cement. We are talking about the various compounds of calcium and in that Portland cement. Now, what is this Portland cement? It was actually found by a mason, okay, an English mason. His name is, maybe you should have learned in general knowledge in your lower classes, Joseph Aspudin. Okay, so he was the one. He's a general English mason who, when he was working, during his work, he observed like when strong heating is done or strongly heated mixture of limestone and clay is mixed with water it starts hardening to a very rock solid stone. Okay, it starts hardening to a rock solid stone, and this phenomena is called as setting of cement. The reason why it is called as Portland cement is, it is this setting of cement is the rock solid stone. It is just like the Portland rock in England. So it looks like that. It's a very strong rock. Okay, so just like Portland rock in England, it is solidifying, no? So that's why the name is given as Portland cement. Okay, so just it was found in that areas. Fine, we generally call it as cement. Now, during this, like, basically, like, what is cement? It is a very dirty greenish color powder. And the main compositions, it contains calcium aluminates and silicates, few amounts of iron oxides also. Okay, so calcium silicates, meaning it is basically contains 3CaO dot Al2O3 and 4CaO dot Al2O3 Fe2O3 ferric oxides, minute quantity. And silicates, it basically 3CaO dot SiO2 and also 2CaO dot SiO2. So on a whole, they both comprises of aluminates and silicates of calcium. Okay, strictly speaking, lime. So these are the things. So main constituents, you can call it as what? The lime, aluminates and silicates. And these ratios are also, okay, the percentage of the ratios of good cement or strong cement. It is like this: the percentage of silica with respect to percentage of aluminum oxide, it should be of 2.5 to 4.0. okay, and if it is with respect to the calcium oxide, percentage of calcium oxide with percentage of SiO2 plus percentage of Al2O3 plus percentage of Fe2O3, with respect to these three components, calcium oxide should be on the range of 1.9 to 2.1. okay, so if Fe2O3 is not present, then generally the cement is white in color. Okay, so that's why, just to give the color, color change, Fe2O3 is mixed with the cement. Okay, or I'll write the point. Lack of Fe2O3 makes cement white in color. Okay, fine. So that's all about information about cement. Now, how do you manufacture them? How do you process the various things? Let's say the raw materials. To begin with, the raw materials, as already seen from the above, limestone. Generally, the limestone provides the lime, and the other one is the clay. It provides the aluminates and silicates. And the other one is the gypsum. We also add some amount of gypsum. Why do we add gypsum? Is this provides, or it is provided, or to slow down the setting process. What is setting we have just seen now. So that process, it is happening on gradually, then only the cement, the strength of the cement is stronger. Okay, the process, that is setting process, should be done gradually. If sudden setting is done, then it is not of so strongness. Fine. And the amounts of aluminates and silicates are also be very much proportional. It cannot be excess, it cannot be lesser. Okay, if it is excess or lesser also, then cracks will be arising, or the strength will be weak, like that. Fine. So what percentage and what composition should be there, that it has to be followed as it is. All right. Now these raw materials, that is the, if you talk about manufacture, basically the limestone, CaCO3, if it is, we know like calcium carbonate is available in hard, that is very strong hard fellow, as well as softness. Okay, soft material. So depending upon the hard metal or soft metal, we have two ways for the manufacturing of that is processing of cement. One is if it is hard, if calcium carbonate is hard, then we call it as dry process. If the calcium carbonate is soft, then it is wet process. So dry process and wet process, depending upon the hardness of calcium and softness of calcium carbonate. In the dry process, what do we do? Very simple things. Since it is hard, we generally break down into small pieces. Okay, we break the each and every particles. One second. Okay, so I think lighting is less. 1 second. Okay, so maybe this will help. So dry process, so what we do is we break down into small the large calcium carbonate crystals, they break down into small pieces, and then they are mixed with the clay, powdered clay. Okay, so CaCO3 broken into small pieces, then in step 2 what we observe is we mix with powdered clay. Which is in what form? Powder form. Now these two mixture is then pulverized. Pulverization of mixture. What is pulverization? In lower classes, if you have studied, nothing but the mixture is again ground into very fine powder, very small particles, crystals. Okay, pulverization of the mixture. Now when you pulverize it, then you pass through a mesh. Okay, that is the 100 mesh sieve filtering. So what is happening here? First you break the rock that is into small pieces, and that small pieces is mixed with the clay, powdered clay, and then pulverized furthermore, such that the small particles which 100 meshes, there is size. Okay, ఎంత pulverize చేయాలి అనేది size బట్టి ఉంటుంది అనమాట. సో డిపెండింగ్ అపాన్ ద సైజ్, if the size is above 100, okay, like 150 200 size particles, no, they retain on the top of the mesh, and 100 mesh sieve, that is the size of the particles which is smaller, they fall down, okay, through the mesh. Fine. On a whole, that mixture that is falling down, we call it as, from the calcium carbonate of dry process, that homogeneous mixture that is obtained is called as raw meal. Okay, what is raw meal? The homogeneous mixture that is obtained from the pulverization mixture and sieved through 100 mesh, that homogeneous mixture is called as raw meal. So raw meal is obtained from hard process, or hard calcium carbonate dry process, whereas in terms of wet process, same things but only minute change. That is, already wet process in calcium carbonate soft, so we need not, it is very soft, like our powdered form, it is already there, so we need not make it furthermore grinding or something. So what we need to do is, we wash the clay is washed such that the flint is removed. Flint is nothing but impurities. Okay, so that is hay, straw, whatever impurities are there, that can be removed from washing the clay, so which is called as flint impurities. And this, when you wash the clay, now it is in what form? Pasty form, right? So clay is what? Paste form. So you take the calcium carbonate, that is the soft calcium carbonate, mix it with paste of clay, and in fact the mixture should be of 75% of calcium carbonate and 25% of clay. Okay, so when you mix these two, then the homogeneous mixture that is formed, mixture is ground into homogeneous paste. This homogeneous mixture is called, there it was raw material, here we call it as slurry. Okay, so slurry is obtained from wet process, raw meal is obtained from calcium, that is dry process. Fine. Now talking about the calcination or rotary kiln. So these raw materials that we have got, be it that is raw meal or slurry, whatever you have obtained, you pass through, or you perform calcination in rotary kiln. What is this rotary kiln? Basically we are heating the materials in the kiln. The kiln is basically, it's very long tower, what horizontal tower, which is diameter of 6 feet to 10 feet, and the length is somewhere around 100 feet to 250 feet. In different countries we have different sizes. So on a whole, it's a very long tower in which heating is happening. So we heat the raw materials, that is the raw materials, we heat it at a temperature of 1400 degrees to 1600 degrees Celsius. Okay, so when we heat, actually this kiln we can divide into 3 sections. This is 750 degrees Celsius temperature maintained, and this is some 1000 degrees Celsius maintained, and this is 1600 or 1400 degrees Celsius temperature maintained. So at various stages the small process is happening. For example, at 750, at this temperature, the water moisture is removed, moisture is completely gone. Okay, and at 1000 degrees Celsius we observe that the decomposition of calcium carbonate take place. Decomposition of calcium carbonate. And at 1600 degrees Celsius, the when calcium carbonate decompose, what do you get? You get quicklime or calcium oxide. The calcium oxide is mixed with aluminates or silicates. Okay, so these are the, at various temperatures you will find the process happening. In fact, if you write the reactions part, CaCO3, we know that on heating or decomposing will form CaO plus CO2. Now this CaO, in fact, if I take 2 moles of CaO treated with SiO2, this is process happening at 1600. What you find is 2 CaO dot SiO2. If I have 3 moles, then 3 CaO dot SiO2. Same way, if I have 3 moles of this treated with Al2O3, then I'll have 3 CaO dot Al2O3. It's just nothing but combination or combining. And 4 CaO plus Al2O3 plus Fe2O3 will form 4 CaO dot Al2O3 dot Fe2O3. So on a whole, this entire reactions are happening at this kiln. So we observe like this, that mixture, the above mixture that we have got, the mixture is called as clinker. You have to remember the terms, okay? So clinkers. So these clinkers from the kiln is obtained, and those clinkers are mixed with, or first they are cooled. They're very hot, right? So they are cooled and mixed with 2 to 3% of gypsum. Clinkers are cooled and mixed with 2 to 3% of gypsum. Now why do we add gypsum? As said already, gypsum, it decreases, or I can say like it increases the time of setting. And this setting process is what? Exothermic in nature. What do you know exothermic? Heat is released. So on a whole, whenever it is this cement, when treated with water, it solidifies to a rock solid, and that's why it's called as Portland cement. Fine. So all the information about cement, Portland cement, is here. Fine. So with this, cement is done. Now there is also one more term with respect to cement. There is something called as concrete and reinforced concrete. It is a mixture of cement plus sand plus gravel plus water. Okay, so this entire mixture is given as a name of what? Concrete. This is strong, it sets strongly and harder than just cement. Okay, and there is something called, as I said, reinforced concrete. Very simple. What we do is, for the same concrete that is mentioned above, if setted, I don't know whether I can use this term or not, setted, or if it is set, okay, with, just for understanding I'm using, if it is set with the rods, a network of iron rods, then perfect skeleton, okay, the resulting structure is very harder than this concrete. Okay, so that is called as what? Reinforced concrete. So if it is set with a network of iron rods, then we call reinforced concrete. It is generally used for construction houses, buildings, etc. Pillars and all we have seen, right? Bridges. Okay, so reinforced concrete is this and concrete is that. Fine. So that's all about the cement, nothing much. Then with respect to barium, also barium compounds, not much. not even that much useful also in terms of competitive exam, but still information. So it is generally available from barytes, okay, or heavy spur. Composition, the formula is BaSO4, barytes. Now this barytes, straight away coming, when you heat it with the coke, barium sulfate, when heated with coke at high temperatures, it forms barium sulfide plus carbon monoxide. Barium sulfide, and compounds of barium is very less number of compounds, and this barium sulfide when treated with sodium carbonate, double displacement reaction, we have barium carbonate BaCO3 plus Na2S. From this mixture we can easily separate the barium because barium carbonate is precipitating easily, it does not dissolve, so it can be easily precipitated, separated also. And one more thing is, it can't be decomposed. At normal heating we cannot decompose it, okay, so it cannot be decomposed. And this is also used to prepare acetate chlorides, acetates, and also where else in organic chemistry you will have these things. Fine. So barium carbonates are generally used to prepare the chlorides, barium chlorides, and acetates of barium barium acetates and all. Nitrates also you can see, barium nitrates and all. Fine. So barium carbonates, and this barium carbonate, if I further treat or heated with carbon, will form barium oxide plus carbon monoxide, and this barium oxide when treated with water, barium hydroxide, so on and on. And apart from this, if I treat with barium oxide with oxygen at a temperature of 540 degrees Celsius, we get barium peroxide, okay. And barium hydroxide, how do you get barium hydroxide? Barium oxide treated with water, when treated with chlorine, it forms barium chloride, that is BaClO thrice taken twice, okay. And this is also very less soluble or sparingly soluble. It is used in crackers, is used in making crackers. Fine. So in fact, one question was there, like in India fireworks are green in color, like actually speaking is this is because of this, okay. So I hope some of you have written it, very good. In case if someone has not written, I have told about the colors, so from there you should have got this thing. On a whole, barium that is chlorides of barium is used in making crackers. Fine. And uses, if you talk about uses, they are used as drying pyridine. They are also used for, in fact, the barium peroxide BaO2 is used to prepare hydrogen peroxide, that is H2O2. Then the barium hydroxide is used to prepare alkaline solutions, basic solutions for titration and all. You will use this. And barium sulfate with zinc sulfide, this mixture is called as lithopone, which is used in paper industry, paper making. Fine. So that's all about the uses, not much. So with this, the barium compounds and various barium compounds and its uses